Hey there, everybody! Did y'all miss me?
Yes.
Cool, because I'm here to talk about one of the most beloved film franchises across the entire world. No. Nope, not that one either. Ooh, but no. I'm talking about everybody's favorite wizard, Harry Potter. What started off as a popular series of books about a young boy learning he's a wizard, goes to school for magic, and fights off evil has become a worldwide phenomenon. In the late 90s, film producer David Heyman enjoyed the books so much, he decided he wanted them to be created into major motion pictures. In which J.K. Rowling was like, "Righto, let's do this, but I get to control this shit." All released by Warner Brothers starting in 2001, the 8 films based on the 7 novels broke several box office records and has become one of the most successful film franchises in the history of the medium. Yes, there are 2 prequel movies currently, but I'm sticking with the main Potter series here. With the main movie series over, the popularity of Harry Potter is still going strong with theme park attractions, new updates to the books, and real-life Quidditch. Right? So we all understand how admired the books have been and how popular the movies are. But my question is, what is the best Harry Potter movie? It's a difficult question to answer because what qualifies one of these films the best could depend on a variety of things. How well it follows the book, which one has the best flow, or maybe which one has the best action sequences. Throughout the 8 films, it had a combined total of 4 different directors, which I think is one of the biggest parts of this debate. Each one of them has their own style and tone that they bring to each film. Chris Columbus directed the first 2 films. Columbus has been best known for his very family-oriented and heartfelt movies like Home Alone and Mrs. Doubtfire, and started the series in a bit of a whimsical style with a bit of mystery and peril, but nothing too intense. Alfonso Cuarón directed the 3rd film, which had a bit more of a gloomy touch than the previous 2, with much of the bright colors taken out to give it more of an unsettling feeling up for future events. Mike Newell takes the reins in the 4th film and shows the direction the series is heading towards, into a more action-packed style franchise with plenty of wand fighting and evil, shadowy villains making a much bigger presence. David Yates finished off the series' final 4 films, which was a bit of a combination of Cuarón and Newell. Yates turns his films into epics. It was no longer boy wizard discovers mysteries in a school, it was now a grand style adventure, quite dark and even frightening at certain times. So, which one is the greatest? The one that I hear a lot of people say is that Prisoner of Azkaban is the best, and I can understand why. First is the fact that this was the biggest shift in feel that the series had. Columbus made his films bright and magical, where Cuarón wanted more of these dark palettes that made things seem uneasy and devoid of hope. Just as Dementors make you feel, they suck the life out of you! This was also the point where the main characters in Hogwarts seemed to be growing up. Sorcerer's Stone? Oh, look how cute and little you are! Prisoner of Azkaban? Stop growing up. Also would like to note that Draco ran out of hair gel this year, so now he has bangs. 10 points from Slytherin for your brooding emo phase. This was also the only film that didn't focus too much on Voldemort. Yeah, he's brought up because he's the big baddie in the whole story, but this set their eyes more towards the mystery of Sirius Black, an escaped convict supposedly on his way to kill Harry. I think all of that is why people like it. It was a breath of fresh air, a change of pace from all the Voldemort talk. Voldemort's coming. He's around again. Head form, teen form. He ain't here right now. Leave a message. My personal opinion, I wasn't quite used to the darker tone of the film compared to the previous entries, so I wasn't the biggest fan. I believe as I matured, I started to appreciate it more, even though I could go without that night bus head. Ah, go away. But nobody wants to talk about the Time Turner, which is the most bullshit thing in all of Harry Potter. I love that we can cast spells and make potions. Bitch, I'm a time traveler. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is one of my favorites because it brought the idea, hey, this could be an action film franchise. Yeah! Which indeed it was. I believe Goblet of Fire, and specifically the Triwizard Tournament, brought in chilling concepts that made it a bit more extreme than your average kid's story. facing off against dragons in the scariest hedge maze ever. Well, almost. It also introduced one of my favorite characters in Mad Eye Moody. The bizarre and groggy new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher is a star every time he's on screen. Brendan Gleeson does a fantastic job with his portrayal, and it's sad that his role is severely diminished after this film. It does have its faults, however, like the infamous Dumbledore asked calmly scene, and the characters from the other schools don't really have much of a personality to them, but they don't stay long, so it's not that big of a deal anyway. Next, I want to talk about Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince together, because they're probably the two films that I thought were the most mediocre. Well, it's true! People only seem to remember two things from Order of the Phoenix, which are Sirius's death and this monster. Personally, I can only remember very minimal scenes. Dumbledore's army training in the secret room being one of them. Oh yeah, and Dumbledore and Voldy having their big standoff. Was I? Half-Blood Prince I can say the same for, but it felt a little more productive than the prior film. The introduction of Horcruxes was an interesting concept. Granted, I felt it was more just a way to drag things on, like, before we get Voldemort, we have to get all this stuff to weaken him. However, the relationship with Harry and Dumbledore in this film is some of the best in the entire series. This is really where the relationship was put to the test. After all, Albus was somewhat of a grandfather-like figure to Harry. As he should be, because he let Harry get away with shit all the time. Sorry, Headmaster. I went into the forest you told me not to go to. Psh, 50 points for being a badass, Harry. And Snape being a bastard was not unexpected. Don't act like you're shocked. Okay, many could argue about those two films, but I don't think many are gonna say Deathly Hallows Part 1 is the best in the franchise, probably because it's boring as hell. Okay, it's not that boring. There are some cool scenes like the diner fight and the most heartbreaking... Nope. Not even gonna show it. Nope. No! It's just a big setup movie, though. There was never any sort of real payoff. It was figuring out ways to destroy Horcruxes to damage Voldemort. So it's basically just a bunch of mundane quests to try and reach a final boss. Could have been called Harry Potter and the Legend of Zelda, am I right? I understand needing the information about the Elder Wand and the Resurrection Stone, since those are important for later, but did we need a whole 2.5-hour movie to explain it? I don't think so. Deathly Hallows Part 2, on the other hand, is pure non-stop action. From the opening scene with the dragon and Gringotts to the entire Battle of Hogwarts. Plus finally what we've all waited for, the ultimate showdown between Harry and Voldemort. I mean, look at this stuff. People that grew up with all 10 years of films led up to this. I remember watching the trailer for this movie and seeing this.
Come on, Tom. Let's finish this the way we started it. Together!
I got a little excited. This was the school people grew up in, what they dreamed about ever since the first film. It was under attack, and you see the power it harnessed within its walls, something we always heard about in previous films, but never fully saw. That's why Deathly Hallows Part 2 is so great. It's the build-up. Everything that you were waiting for, from the final conflict to where they are now, is wrapped up in a nice, pretty bow with the ultimate evil finally taken out of the world. But I don't think it's the best. So there's two films I have yet to talk about, and that's because... how would the Romans put this? They toast my buns. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Philosopher's Stone if you aren't American, and The Chamber of Secrets are the quintessential Harry Potter films for reasons you're probably able to guess. I can give mountains of credit to the other directors in this franchise. Cuarón for his change in tone, Newell for his action ideas, and Yates for turning it into the epic it deserved to be. But I have to give the most praise to Chris Columbus for creating this world. Without him, these other ones would not have existed. Harry Potter didn't start off as this massive adventure. It was more about discovering this magical world that we, the audience, along with the main character, had never seen before. The reaction that Harry has first walking into Diagon Alley and seeing everything around him is the same reaction we had when we first saw the bustling secret alley. First pulling up to Hogwarts, being in the grand hall with floating candles, moving staircases, learning to cast spells, flying on brooms. Owl mail! We were invested. We wanted to learn more about how they run their daily lives in the school and wishing we could be there with them. Sorcerer's Stone also created the general theme that stayed true throughout the entire 8 films, that love was one of the most powerful magics of all. However, I think the superior of the two is definitely the Chamber of Secrets. Sorcerer's Stone introduced us to the world with all the wonder and the threats that are had. Chamber of Secrets did what a great sequel is supposed to do: take the concepts from the first film and expand on them. Chamber of Secrets felt like a continuation of the story the same way Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 continued Peter Parker's story. We have our introduction, our origin story if you will. We know the general things we can do. Now we have more time to show you those ideas and how they impact the lives of the characters moving forward, like Harry being a parcel tongue, and more Quidditch! Yay, more Quidditch! It also gave room in your heart for one of the most important characters in the franchise in Hagrid. Notice how earlier I called Dumbledore a grandfather type figure to Harry, because I think Hagrid was the true father figure to him. Hagrid is the one that reluctantly dropped Harry off at the doorstep of the Dursleys, picked him up to take him to this magical world, and later was the one that carried him when he ultimately died. Hagrid is somewhat of the original glue between Harry and the audience. We as the audience go along with Harry and need to be shown this new world, which Hagrid does for us perfectly as the lovable half-giant man that he is. Chamber of Secrets shows how important this character is, the advice that he gives, and the knowledge that he has of the wizarding world, past and present. I think it was also the point that showed Voldemort as a true threat with Tom Riddle. The first film talked about how we don't say his name, and he's this ultimate evil, yet all we saw was him attached to some guy's head. I think the second film gave fantastic insight into who Voldemort is and how evil this major villain can be, not just talking about it. Both of Columbus's films are filled with joy over grim than later entries, and I think that was the best way to start, so we could ease into the fact that a great evil was to come. But for now, let's just enjoy those younger years a little bit longer. So those are my thoughts on what I think the best Harry Potter film is, and I have no doubt that you guys have your favorite for certain reasons, and I want to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content on movies, cartoons, or whatever else I can come up with. Thanks, everybody!
The birds and the bees are flying in the trees. The sun's in the sky, just for you and I. The sky's perfect blue, no cloud could swallow you. It's a sign.